friends, welcome back to my channel. It's Megan, and today I have a massive unhaul to share with you. This is actually the stacks I have left and the books I have left after getting rid of probably 50 that I gave to Leah, and I forgot to unhaul and show them before I gave them to her. And I have so many books I'm getting rid of. If you don't know, I'm getting brain surgery soon. By the time this video goes up, I might have already had it. And this is a like Swedish death cleaning unhaul, for lack of a better term. If you don't know what Swedish death cleaning is, it is essentially when someone is faced with their mortality or goes through like a huge life change and they realize that they are just done dealing with so much stuff. And mostly this is for people who are more elderly or are facing like a life or death situation or surgery or something of that nature, and they realize that the amount of stuff they have could be passed down as a burden to their loved ones. I personally am not viewing it in that nature particularly. I don't think I'm going to be facing a life or death situation with my brain surgery. It's gonna be scary, it's gonna be major, no doubt there, but I don't feel like this is going to be a like me dying situation, which is good. But this is a situation in that I've come to the realization that I don't want to come back after recovery to so much clutter and so many books. And that is why I'm unhauling all of these books that have just been sitting on my shelves waiting to be read. And I do this thing where I am just very hard on myself and I don't allow myself to read the books I really want to read and I'm really excited about until I've read like almost these assignment books. Like I give myself assignments and I have to finish these books before I can read the ones I really love. So I did a brutal unhaul of my shelves and I went through and I really thought about, am I just keeping this book because I haven't read it and not because I'm excited about it? Or am I keeping it because like I look at it and I'm so excited to read it, like I cannot wait to pick it up kind of vibe. So basically anything that I had even like a slight like I guess I'll have to read that first before I can get to my other ones, it went, it's going, it's gone. I still have so many books, don't get me wrong, but I think I unhauled probably 150 plus books, not including the 50 I gave to Leah. My physical TBR has diminished pretty well, so that's exciting. And my bookshelves look so much nicer to look at. I also finally decided to just flip my shelves to how I like them. For a while there, I had books flipped backwards if I hadn't read them yet because it was almost this, I don't like how it looks, so maybe it'll like entice me to read them faster, and almost like a to-do list. Like it was satisfying to flip that book around and be able to see it on the shelf. But I just kind of got tired of that and I just want to look at my pretty books and I want to be excited when I look at my shelves and not dread when I look at my shelves. So now they are all facing out and they are all books I'm so happy to have and so excited about. So I just feel so much better about my shelves. Because this unhaul is so large, I'm just gonna have to do it in sections, so bear with me because it's gonna take a while to film. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 really large stacks to get through. Let's get started with the books I have read. We'll get started with the regular edition, so not anything that's a special edition, but just books that I've read and don't think I'll ever pick up again. Because this is gonna take so long, I'm not gonna spend a lot of time sitting here and like discussing what these are. If there's something that really stands out, I'll say something, but for the most part, I'm just going to show the book and say the name of it. Bloom by Kevin Panetta and Savannah Ganachow. Amulet volumes 1 through 8. This is by, it doesn't actually say, Kibushi. Sailor Moon volumes 3 through 5 in the small paperbacks. I just prefer the Eternal editions, so I'm getting rid of these ones. Fruits Basket Collector's Edition volumes 1 through 3, and the Olympian Gods volumes 1 through 8 by George O'Connor. So we have Zeus, Athena, Hera, Hades, Poseidon, Aphrodite, Ares, and Apollo. Next we have The Guncle by Stephen Rowley, Blackout by Kay Monroe, Stowaway by John David Anderson, Your Name Volume 1 by Makoto Shinkai and Ranmaru Katone, Fruits Basket in the regular edition volumes 10 through 14, Romanov by Nadine Brandes, Mara Tidebreaker by Danielle Page, American Royals and Majesty by Catherine McGee, Mooncakes by Wendy Zhu and Suzanne Walker, Grimoire Noir by Vera Greentea and Yana Bogach, Internment by Samira Ahmed, and Ride On by Faith Erin Hicks. Shermie. Hi, buddy. Shermie. Sherman, you're a star. Okay, next we have the Stalking Jack the Ripper series. I do want to say something about this. It was one of my favorite series of the year, favorite books of the year, but overall it's not a series I ever see like rereading over and over again. I really have a lot of fun with it, but mysteries are just not something that I tend to pick up again once I've discovered what the mystery was. I think that this is a fantastic series and I love it, but I don't want it to just sit on my shelves and never get reread, and I want it to go to someone who will enjoy it much more thoroughly than I will by just having it sit on my shelves just because I really enjoyed reading it. So that is the Stalking Jack the Ripper series. It was mostly, the books were like 4.5 to 5 stars for me, so it's a little sad to let go of, but overall there's no use in hanging on to books I'm never gonna read again. Now we're gonna move on to books that I haven't read yet, but when I look at, I'm not like, oh my gosh, I need to pick that up. So first we have Spider-Man, a novelization by Peter David. This is the official novelization of the film of Spider-Man 3. Dry by Neil Shusterman. The Serpent's Shadow by Rick Riordan, Magnus Chase and the Gods of Asgard by Rick Riordan, The Warrior Heir and the Demon King by Cinda Williams Chima, and the Andi Darkin trilogy by Kirsten White, which is a retelling of Vlad the Impaler, I believe. Alright guys, I'm sorry I told you this was gonna take a while. I just have so much going on, so I'm trying to do this in chunks, but the next chunk of Unhaul quick outfit change the next day, but the next we're just gonna get back into it. We have Victoria by Daisy Goodwin, Dune by Frank Herbert, The Wingfeather Saga, The Monster in the Hollows Book 3 by Andrew Peterson, Marvel coloring book, I don't know how this got in this deck, Stranger Things World Turns Upside Down, The Throne of Fire by Rick Riordan, the graphic novel, Frozen Tides by Morgan Rhodes, Bloodlines by Rochelle Mead, 3 books from the Outlander series by Diana Gabaldon, Outlander, Drums of Autumn, and Voyager, and Forged in Fire and Stars by Andrea Robertson. Enchantée by Gita Trelease, Pretty Fun by Kate Hudson, Through the Lens, Dwayne Johnson The Rock, His Life, His Movies, His World, Within These Wicked Walls by Lauren Blackwood, Giant Days by Allison and Tryman and Koger, the Game of Thrones graphic novels, volumes 1 and 2 I believe, Dune House Corino and Dune House Artrides, A Golden Fury by Samantha Coho, The Summoner Book 1, The Novice by Taran Mathru, The Mermaid, the Witch, and the Sea by Maggie Takuta Hall, We Roll the Night by Claire Eliza Bartlett, and Cursed by Frank Miller and Thomas Wheeler. Once Upon a Time, Shadow of the Queen graphic novel. Witch and Wizard by James Patterson, Volume 1. The American Heiress by Daisy Goodwin. Beyond the Ruby Veil by Mara Fitzgerald. Magnus Chase and the Gods of Asgard by Rick Riordan. The Hammer of Thor. Arusha and the Song of Death by Roshani Chakshi. Murder, She Knit by Peggy Earhart. The Secret Loves of Geek Girls by Hope Nicholson and Kelly Sue DeConnick. The Black Flamingo by Dean Atta. The Immortalists by Chloe Benjamin. Looking for Alaska by John Green. Everlost by Neil Shusterman. A Star Named Vega by Benjamin Roberts. Kotov Syndrome by Tim Boffman Jr. Lumen by Elizabeth Weiser. Why We Love Disney by Andy Stein. Poster Smash and Posters Smashed by Stephen Nagy. Walt Disney Hollywood's Dark Prince by Mark Elliott. Sherwood by Megan Spooner. Jane Austen and Scarsdale by Paula Marantz Cohen. Enola Holmes and the Black Baroche by Nancy Springer. Ship of Smoke and Steel by Jenga Wexler. Verona Comics by Jennifer Dugan. Blackbird Volume 1 by Kanoko Sakuroji. Beyonders by Brandon Mull. Moving Target by Christina Diaz Gonzalez. Witch and Wizard Volume 2 by James Patterson. Most Likely by Sarah Watson. Watch Us Rise by Renee Watson and Ellen Hagen. A Queen's Pleasure by Brandy Purdy. Royal Blood by Rona Sharon. The XY by Virginia Bergen. The Martian by Andy Weir. Lifelike by Jay Kristoff. Wonder Woman, the Deluxe Junior Novel. Black Moon by Romina Russell. 3 different books from the Night Vale series. Mostly Void, Partially Stars, It Devours, and The Faceless Old Woman Who Secretly Lives in Your Home. And Spider-Man, The Lizard Sanction by Diane Duane. The Queen's Fortune by Alison Pataki. Dune, the graphic novel by Frank Herbert. Fire and Heist by Sarah Beth Durst. Jane in Love by Rachel Givney. Girls Save the World, and this one by Ash Parsons. Dune House Arcanon. Frost Like Night by Sarah Rosh. The Mystery of Black Hollow Lane by Julia Noble. Wings of Ebony and Ashes of Gold by J.L. Merlin's Blade by Robert Trescallard. The Jewel Thief by Jeannie Mobley. Lost by M.E. Greenfield. The Infinity Courts by Akemi Dawn Bowman. I believe that's all the ones that I own and haven't read yet that I just don't feel super enticed to pick up. Now I have some classics I'm getting rid of. I have this whole children's collection featuring A Little Princess, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, Oliver Twist, Rebecca of Sunnybrook Farm, The Wind in the Willows, The Time Machine, Treasure Island, Pinocchio, Little Women, and Fables for Children. As much as I love Little Women and I do have a collection, I'm getting rid of a couple that just aren't my favorites of the collection. I just really want like specific, beautiful, really cool editions. I just don't need like several versions of the paperback, especially when I'm not really vibing with the paperback covers. So this is the stack of Little Women I'm getting rid of. I also have a Little Women journal. It's just blank pages with Little Women on the front, as well as 8 Cousins, this edition by Louisa May Alcott, the same author who wrote Little Women. I'm getting rid of this Jane Austen compendium because I really love the Barnes & Noble softback editions of these books, so I'd prefer to have those. And then same on these, I prefer the Barnes & Noble softback editions as opposed to these, so I'm going to be unhauling these. We have the LitJoy editions of Wuthering Heights, Pride and Prejudice, and Jane Eyre, and then this edition of Jane Eyre as well, and this edition of Alice in Wonderland. Then I have a small stack here of duplicates I'm getting rid of just because I don't need doubles of some of these books. I have the Sorcerer's Stone and the Goblet of Fire. I do want to get secondhand versions of these that I can annotate, but I just really don't love like the quality, like the condition of these. Then I have the paperback of The City of Dusk. It is super floppy, which I love, but I just prefer my fantasy to be in hardcover if possible, and I do have a hardcover edition of this, so I'm gonna unhaul the paperback. And here's the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition of Roll of Wolves. I have the signed hardback though, so I'm gonna keep the signed one and unhaul this one. Okay, my next piles here are my ARCs, or my advanced readers copies, and books that are special edition but not necessarily from like a book box. So they're just special for various reasons, and we'll go through those, but we'll start with my ARCs. First we have Hush by Dylan Farrow, Winter, White and Wicked by Shannon Ditmore, Where Dreams Descend by Janella Angeles, Finale by Stephanie Garber, and then I also have this little sneak peek chapter, Malice by Heather Walter, War Girls by Toki Yanabuki, Waking Romeo by Catherine Barker, Shadow of the Fox by Julie Kagawa, and Lobizana by Romina Garber. Alright, now onto the various special editions. First I have the new paperback editions of the Shadow and Bone trilogy, and you're probably like, why are they special? Because they don't have the Netflix sticker on them. So that's pretty exciting. These special editions of The Follower of Flowers and The Name Bearer, they're just like gold sprayed edges. This old paperback of Vicious, I don't know if it's necessarily like an exact first edition, but it is the old artwork of the like previous illustrated hardcover. The Barnes & Noble and Ember in the Ashes, and the Court of Miracles. I believe this is the Waterstones edition if I remember correctly, and it's got gold sprayed edges. I think there's a, yeah, it's got a beautiful like hardcover casing too. Then we have the French editions of A Darker Shade of Magic. These are so beautiful. I just don't need them taking up space on my shelves. That could go to other books I love. I do love A Darker Shade of Magic, but I'm never ever ever gonna read these editions because they're in French. Then we have the Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. This is the collector's edition. I don't remember if it's like Fairy Loot or if it's Barnes & Noble or what made this collector's. I don't remember where this one came from. I forgot I had a little art print in here though. I'll leave that in there for someone to discover. And it's got these really cool sprayed edges, or not sprayed edges, but end papers. And then we have this version of Shadow and Bone. Love the series. I just don't need multiple copies again. And this hardback set of A Darker Shade of Magic. This may stay if the edition I receive matches this set better than the other set I kept, and if so I will switch the two. So I'm gonna leave this at my apartment just in case, but this is the set I intend to unhaul if not. Then we have this Strange the Dreamer set. The books themselves are not special edition, but I bought these special edition book covers to go on them. Same thing for this Where Dreams Descend and When Night Breaks set duology, and both of these I love. I have, as you can see, another set of Strange the Dreamer right here, and it's up there, but I have another set of the Where Dreams Descend duology, but again, don't need multiple. This set I keep going back and forth on. I loved when I first read it, but I just don't know if I'll ever go back to it. I might hold on to them just in case I get that, like, I'll probably leave them here and then reevaluate when I come back after surgery, but I'm intending to potentially haul the Serpent and Dove trilogy. I do have some sprayed edges on these, so they're exclusive in that, and they also, I bought, I think it's the Fox and Wit dust jackets. And finally I have the Barnes & Noble set of the Cruel Prince series. But wait, there's more. I have all of my BookBox subscription box books that I am unhauling, so we'll get to those next. This one's actually not part of the subscription, but I got the sequel somehow in the subscription. So we have The Blood Trials and The Blood Gift by Annie Davenport. The Gilded Ones by Namina Forna. Defy the Night by Bridget Kimmerer, Thorn by Intisar Kahani, A Touch of Darkness and A Game of Fate by Scarlett St. Clair, The Witch and the Vampire by Francesca Flores, Teach the Torches to Burn by Caleb Roerig, The Wolf and the Woodsman by Ava Reed, Woven in Moonlight by Isabel Ibanez, Star Daughter by Shweta Thakrar, Bonecryer's Moon and Bonecryer's Dawn by Catherine Purdy, Witch King by Martha Wells, Night Smitter by Addie Thorley, This Poison Heart by Caitlin Barron, The Bright and the Pale by Jessica Rubinskowski, This Golden Flame by Emily Victoria, A Song of Wraiths and Ruin by Roseanne A. Brown, City of Nightmares by Rebecca Schaefer, Spells for Forgetting by Adrienne Young, Lore by Alexandra Bracken, Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber, Book of Night by Holly Black, The Whispering Dark by Kelly Andrew, Babel by Arif Kwong. After a few of those, I feel like I just need to clarify that I did keep a lot of these books duplicates. Like, I do have Lore still right here. I still have another Babel. I still have like another Once Upon a Broken Heart. Like, I am keeping the book itself. I just don't need duplicates. So I kept my favorite versions of each of these books. Some Desperate Glory by Emily Tush, Belladonna by Adeline Grace, Seven Devils by Elizabeth May and Laura Lim, The Foxglove King by Hannah Witten, This Woven Kingdom by Tahira Mafi, Ruin Song by Julia Ember, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab, and the Daughter of Smoke and Bone trilogy, including the companion Night of Cake and Puppets. Alright people, we're down to our last stacks here. I probably have more elsewhere, but honestly if I find any more at this point, I'm not going to worry about filming it because I am trying to do everything in one day and it's just not working. So we have Firefrost by Camille Longley, Afterlove by Tanya Byrne, The Gilded Ones paperback by Namina Forna, Twin Crowns by Catherine Weber, Poster Girl by Veronica Roth, Strange the Dreamer Lit Joy Edition box set by Lainey Taylor, A Dark and Hollow Star by Ashley Shuttleworth, The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy by Megan Bannon, The Ravens by Cass Morgan and Danielle Page, Nocturna and Occulta by Maya Motain, and finally, last but not least, the Iron Fae series that has come out so far of Fairy Loot, including the Iron Sword, the Iron Vow, the Iron Raven, the Iron Knight, the Iron Queen, the Iron Daughter, and the Iron King. I think I read those backwards, but we're doing our best out here. And those are all by Julie Kagawa. So that is everything I'm unhauling. It was a heck of a lot. I have so much more space to work with in my library now, and it feels so much less cluttered, and I'm just feeling so much happier about the space I'm in. So I know it was a lot. I know there's probably some people's favorites in here, but it just feels so good to get rid of these books. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will check you in my next video. Bye friends.